it's not an innate skill to be able to communicate. It's not a personality thing. It is actually just skills that you are taught and you can learn.
Sure.
So if anybody is listening that's like, I think I've been told I need to go to something like this, like you come on, it's okay. We get people that are, who's the people that support them are saying you should really go and improve your communication skills. You're in a safe place. We're used to this, but we're also used to the leaders that are like, okay, like I want to do the next step. I want to go past these basic skills and I want to get even better.
Hey everyone, I'm your host, Courtney Post, and this is Let's Vet Together by Suveto, a show where we'll be highlighting stories of growth, ownership, and well-being in the veterinary industry and having real conversations about how we can make veterinary medicine better for everyone. If this is your first time listening, welcome. We're glad you're here. If you've already been a part of our community, make sure to follow us on whatever platform you're listening from and give us a review to let us know how we're doing. We really appreciate you for coming back. Hello and welcome to our Let's Vet Together podcast. Today, I have a familiar guest on the podcast, my friend and colleague, Dr. Heather Lenzer. Welcome back, Heather, to Let's Vet Together.
Thanks, Court. It's always lovely to hang out with you in real life and also when we're podcasting.
In real life and when we podcast together. And today is a really exciting podcast because while we all know Heather as a veterinarian who has practiced for many years, we'll just say that, Heather, right? But
Yes.
Also a nationally recognized communication coach. You've been communication trained and providing coaching since 2008, one of the original coaches with the very well-known Frank Communication Program, and have spent years coaching teams, individuals on both Frank principles as well as some of your own established principles. Today, we are talking about a really exciting endeavor. You really stepping into this communication passion of yours and bringing this to veterinary teams and veterinary leaders nationwide. So, Heather, thank you for being here.
Of course.
Thank you for sharing this exciting time with us. And in your words, what are you working on now? Tell us about this new endeavor.
Well, I think there's this saying, if you do what you love, you never work another day in your life. And I am on the precipice of never working another day in my life because I will be working on creating and magnifying the communication workshops that I've been doing for the past really many years now. They are really interactive. They provide incredibly timely and efficient tools to help not just veterinarians, but also other team members to get in and out of exam rooms quickly, to get on and off the phone quickly, but more importantly, to make sure that our clients and our patients get the care they need. And this is all without burning ourselves out. It's without being trapped in conversations that are circular or frustrating or don't seem to end. And they allow us to really partner with our clients to provide the care that our pets need, especially in times like now, like these, where everything's just a little bit tighter. We need to be watching. Our clients are definitely watching where they spend their money. And we as veterinary team members are also really being mindful of how do we educate our clients on what they need and why. So I'm wrapping it all up together and putting it in these workshops that we're going to be able to share with everyone. And I just couldn't be more excited about it.
Yeah, it's been in the past few years, you've been doing this, kind of in a bubble, among other things. And I had the great opportunity of actually being a part of one of your workshops this past fall. And I was able to actually witness many veterinary leaders, medical directors, practice owners, associate veterinarians, but really, folks that from the outside, someone would say, hey, these are leaders in our practice. These are folks that make it look easy. And they dove into this training because even for those it may seem easy for, right, these are tough conversations to have. And there's real training that can go around having these conversations. So in your experience, Heather, like, Why is this training not just so important now because our clients are, a little bit more strapped than in years past. We are, we're just trying to get by on day to day,
Right.
let alone agreeing to, for the senior blood work and the dentals.
Mhm.
But overall communication training within veterinary medicine. What does that picture look like? When are people trained to communicate? What exists for them as far as communication in difficult conversations?
Well, not a ton. I mean, that currently exists now. And I think a lot of what is out there is focused on interacting as a veterinarian with a client in an exam room. And it's not that that's not important. And when I ask people, and especially medical directors and practice leaders, what do you want to learn? I'd say half the time they do want to learn how to communicate with clients better. And that content is relatively, I mean, it's out there, it's relatively well established. But the part that isn't, that the other half that our medical leaders are asking for is how do I get the staff to communicate with each other better? How do I improve their trust in each other? How do I get rid of gossiping and backstabbing and cliques and hurt feelings? And then how do I, as a leader, how do I get more transparency with my team so that I know what they need? Because just, sometimes the leaders are the last to know what the cultural issues are in their hospitals, right?
Mhm.
And so these tools that are very well established, but they're not kind of pulled through the whole profession yet. These have been really been well received with the people we've been using it with so far within our bubble.
Yeah. So if I'm listening to this
Mhm.
podcast and I'm a veterinarian, tell me in really simple terms, what am I signing up for? Which it's a scary thing to sign up for, right? To be like, oh, I want to go and be super vulnerable. I want to
Yep.
go and be interactive. I'm raising my hand to say I need help with communication, but what is it that I am signing up for when I sign up for a workshop or a training with Dr. Heather Lenzer?
Well, it's incredibly practical, first of all. It's we do some kind of background of like where did these skills come from? And these did come from initially from a university setting. They came from the work of Dr. Jane Shaw at Colorado State and Dr. Jason Coe at OVC or Guelph. And these are common, well, they're simple skills that are commonly talked about, but not necessarily packaged together in a way that we can remember about how to get information from the people that we're talking to. So either whether it be clients or team members. And these are skills like open-ended questions, reflective listening, empathy skills, and nonverbal skills. And in all of these areas, we all know what these are. Like I said those words, and people that were listening were like, I know what empathy is. I know
Sure.
what open-ended questions are. But there's a difference between knowing these skills and being able to use them. And then it's like black belt type skill level to be able to use these skills when you yourself are kind of outside your zone of comfort. So you're feeling frustrated or angry or scared or guilty, and you have to go and get some of this information from somebody else. So we give a framework that can be used really in any situation to have these courageous conversations, these difficult conversations where emotions are high and outcomes are also really dire.
Mhm.
And we package them in a way that is really fun and not scary. I emphasize that because you did bring up how vulnerable you need to be. And we make it so that the vulnerability part of this is actually, it kind of creeps up on you. And we start off with a lot of trust building at first so that people aren't just thrust into some kind of scary situation because these situations are real. I've taken the cases that we talk through are real cases that have happened to people in vet med. And if you think like listeners, if you just think right now of like, 2 or 3 difficult conversations you had this past week. Like it's not difficult to come up with those 2 or 3.
Sure.
You might have had them this morning,
Yeah.
right? And so this framework really helps you to be able to experience them calmly and with confidence, and then keep adding on to the skills as you continue to feel better with some of the basic ones. So
Sure.
we're not like going after, if people worry about this, they're like, well, I'm a bad communicator. They think they have sort of some innate flaw. Or on the flip side, I'm a really good communicator. I don't need this work. So it's not an innate skill to be able to communicate. It's not a personality thing. It is actually just skills that you are taught and you can learn.
Sure.
So if anybody is listening that's like, I think I've been told I need to go to something like this, like, you come on, it's okay. We get people that are, who's the people that support them are saying you should really go and improve your communication skills. You're in a safe place. We're used to this, but we're also used to the leaders that are like, okay, like I want to do the next step. I want to go past these basic skills and I want to get even better. And so this framework can keep expanding and expanding and expanding. And that's what's really
I
exciting
agree to
about it.
that. I would say I've gone through a lot of communication, leadership coaching in the past, and having again recently participated in one of these trainings, I find myself stopping and using the skills that I learned in that class and reflecting back to them and things that you can continue to improve upon, and really watch the impact that those slight tweaks can have in day to day, let alone in a vet practice when, aside from medical knowledge, communication is the key to everything that is done within a vet practice, internally within a team, and obviously with pet parents every single day. So, Heather, how did you find your way to veterinary communication? Because, I do think you are a very unique facilitator and educator, and you certainly have the background and the experience to be leading and facilitating these workshops. So can you tell us a little bit about how you found your way here and the education and the experience that you've had?
It was one of those classic, like, right place, right time kind of things. I was asked to join one of the first Frank communication classes that was in existence. And this was back in about 2008, 2009. And this is what Dr. Jane Shaw had created at Colorado State. And they were looking to kind of test out this program, which was called Frank Communication. And it was sponsored by, at the time, it was sponsored by Pfizer Animal Health, which is now Zoetis. And so I went through as a kind of a trial participant. And there were 50 of us. And out of those 50, several of us were then invited back to learn how to coach the content. And I have been doing it every year since then. And so I've coached at CSU students and interns and residents. Interns and residents are tougher because they are really focused on learning, and they also haven't, as one of my mentors would say, and students sometimes too, they haven't been really cold, wet, and naked in front of a client, like so many like seasoned associates have, where you're stuck in a really vulnerable conversation. Things are not going well. You don't know how to get yourself out of this conversation or make it better. And so my favorite group of people to do coaching are those that are like, oh my gosh, this did not go well. I need to figure out how to do this better. And so my seasoned associates and leaders are my favorite. Sure. And so I've been doing it since then. So I just actually came back. I was there 2 weeks ago doing another coaching session. And
over
so
15 years of experience.
It's a really long time.
It's a lot of people that you've heard the feedback from as well, and heard about how this has been implemented in their day-to-day life. Can you share with us some of the feedback that you get from participants? What have you heard over the years, Heather?
My favorite is when, because we give out, a lot of our coaches, we give out our contact information, which I would obviously be happy to do. But at the end of it, I got maybe a week later, I got an email from one of the people I'd coached saying that these skills had helped him reconnect with his estranged daughter. And he couldn't thank me enough for being able to kind of learn how to rekindle this connection. Mm-hmm. So that's one of my favorite pieces of feedback. But we also, at the end of every coaching session, group session, we ask the participants, what have you learned? And really, most of the time, if not all the time, the feedback is this has been transformational. This has changed my life. I feel so much more at ease going into hard conversations. I now know what I did that wasn't effective before, and I know how to fix that, like starting tomorrow, starting this afternoon. Mm-hmm. I know how I'm going to phrase questions, how I'm going to listen differently, and how I'm going to reconnect with those around me. And we start off saying that this is, really for veterinarians, veterinary leaders, medical directors to interact with their clients and their staff. But very quickly into the workshop, everyone starts realizing, I could use this with my partner. I could use this with my parents. I could use this with my kids. I could use this with my neighbors. Because in the end, it's just skills to communicate with other human beings. And so
Absolutely.
once that people light up and go, oh my gosh, I realize this is for everything that I do, that's where there's a lot, just that's where the value for me just really skyrockets.
Incredible. You spoke a little bit to how participants have given you some feedback in areas and people within the hospital that they are able to communicate better to. As a practicing veterinarian yourself, what areas of the hospital have you then seen impact? Like what tangibly is, I'm a listener, I'm a very tactical leader in my hospital, and I think, okay, but how is this going to drive certain behavior or efficiencies or success in a hospital?
Mm-hmm. Well, if we go from the front to the back, if leaders get trained, which we do, of how to train their CSR team, their computers, the people that are really the front lines of the hospital. It makes the clients that come visit happier when they're greeted in certain ways by the CSR team. It helps them understand their estimates better, and it improves compliance and really like Google reviews and those kind of scorings. Then if you move into the exam rooms, it helps the technicians get more accurate initial histories. And then that gets transferred to the veterinarians who now have really solid histories, and they can do their physical exam quick as they normally do, maybe with a little bit more kind of talking through the physical exam, just a little. But the basic way that we do exams, our colleagues are really good at that part. So it's then the afterwards, after they've done the exam and they start planning what to do next. This is where a lot of vets can get bogged down in explaining everything that could happen, and then also what the client should expect kind of in sequential order. This is where a lot of people get stuck. They get stuck at the end when they're doing explaining and planning, and then they can get stuck at the beginning when they're trying to get the history from the client. And so these frameworks shorten that, they make it more efficient. And at the same time as there's more efficiency and more structure, the tools also help build trust and build relationship with the client. So now when the client leaves, they feel well educated, they feel listened to, they're going to come back and be more compliant, and also leave you great reviews. And all of this is done incredibly quickly. So before I knew these skills, I was getting stuck on the phone. I was getting stuck in exam rooms. And now I'm in and out of exam rooms myself. I'm able to see more patients if I need to, and I don't feel rushed, and I can get home, to be with my family. So it really impacts everybody. And I'm just so excited to be able to talk about it and to teach it. It's just an honor.
And even, for those listening that are thinking, this sounds great, but I'm a doctor short in my hospital. I have someone out on leave. This is a really busy time of year with holidays and going into, next year with, we're going into dental month. I've got to travel for national CE. I don't have time for this. This is the type of training that actually can help with this efficiency, that can help actually improve efficiency, and create more space for those that are listening.
Absolutely. I think of it as investing in getting a ligature. If you're going to be doing some splenectomies, and yes, it takes a while to learn. Well, you have to invest in the ligature. You've got to invest in figuring out how to work it. You're going to have a couple of awkward splenectomies, but after that, you're doing 15-minute splenectomies now. So this is like so for those of you that feel too busy and feel like that you can't get time away, the content that we go over, the framework that we use, the skills that you'll walk away with are going to just ramp up your efficiency so much that it's going to be worth a little bit of discomfort of being away from your hospital during a busy time if you're a doctor short, or all the things that Courtney said. So it is, and it's something you use right away. Like you're going to come home and you're going to be able to be using these skills right away to find out quickly what people around you need, how you can serve them, and you will not get stuck in circular conversations. I promise.
So how can our listeners learn more about your programs, what's available, when the next training is? How can folks learn more?
Well, we have a lot of great information on Harbor, so please go visit Harbor. And
Harbor.vet.
Harbor.vet. We have an upcoming CE in February in Philadelphia. It's very close to the Philadelphia airport in Conshohocken, and it's February 3rd and 4th. And we are having an all-day training on the first day, and then half-day training on the second day. We'll all be together for that time, really learning these skills and then practicing them. And we'll be practicing them in a way that's really fun and really safe and really effective.
Amazing. I am sure that those listening can probably recognize themselves in one of the scenarios or stories or, kind of situations that you have shared. And if you haven't, I can guarantee that sitting in that training, you will, and there will be something that resonates and really speaks to you. But I am, as I said at the beginning of this, Heather, so excited about bringing this training and the framework that you have built upon over the years with Frank and your additional training to the entire profession and really impacting all of our veterinary leaders and veterinary teams. So I'm super excited to be launching this with you. Encourage everyone to check out harbor.vet for more information. If it's not this upcoming training in February, there will be many more. If you're interested in Dr. Heather Lenzer and some additional folks on her team coming to your practice, please reach out. Heather can customize this training to be for your entire team and also an incredibly effective way for your whole staff to go through this training. So lots of different ways to access this training and working with Heather. And I'm excited to have a front row seat, Heather. Thank you.
Thank you, Court. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm excited to get started and build on what we've already done.
Amazing.